Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show. Joining you every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you, as always, for making this a part of your morning routines. Hope you're doing good and well and having a good start to your weekend. It is the day today. The Big Sam Day is what it is today, as Arsenal will hope and pray that Leeds United somehow, under the guidance and tutelage and mastery of Sam Allardyce, can get something from the Etihad Stadium. Now, I'm going to tell you now, don't get your hopes up. That's what I'm going to say. Do not go into that game. I'd recommend not even watching it. I mean, those in the UK can't because it's a 3 p.m. kickoff, but I'd recommend not even watching it. Don't bother. Don't do it to yourself because goodness me. Yeah. No point getting one's hopes up for Sam Allardyce to pull off a mastery. I will happily hold my hands up tomorrow morning if indeed I need to, and I'm hoping I'm going to have to, but I'm expecting absolutely nothing. So there you go. Anyway, good morning to those joining us in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Temi, Olu, NSW, Arasilki, Stevie, Marcus, Paul, Matt G. Good morning to Morgie. Good morning to Marcus. We've got Alex, Jose, Ishmael. We've got Stephen. Alex as well, and so many more too. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. And yeah, let's crack on with today's show. We kick off as always by telling you to go and watch, catch up, and make sure that you have tuned in to our preview show we recorded yesterday evening. I was joined by Mike, Garrett, and Dan to talk about Newcastle against Arsenal on Sunday. Last night, we did lineups, team news, all of that lovely stuff. Discussed a lot about Newcastle and what we're thinking and feeling ahead of the game. So if you haven't already, go and watch it. It'll be worth your time after you've completed today's show, of course. Now, Frida Maanum, of course, was the woman to step up to score an amazing goal. Another, I don't know if you count it as top corner because it kind of dips at the end, but it's an amazing strike as Arsenal won 1-0 against Leicester. It keeps Arsenal's WSL hopes alive. Arsenal continue, of course, to try and claw their way back into the WSL title race. That defeat to Manchester United has made things very tricky indeed. I really don't want to see Man United getting their WSL title. It's like I don't have any kind of ill feeling necessarily towards the women's side of Manchester United, but it's like I don't really want to see them pick up the league. I just feel as though I'd rather a Chelsea or a Man City do it because Chelsea in particular are like the Man City of the world of women's football in a way because it's just so regular that they win the league that it kind of means nothing to me at this stage. But Man United are a force, of course, after investing recently in the women's game that have really come to the fore in the last few years and are now challenging. So I don't really want to see Man United win it, but hopefully Arsenal can do the job themselves. But if you're going to have to rely on someone else, hopefully it's just not them to win the league this time round. Meanwhile, unfortunately, on the other side of the spectrum, our under-18s really, unfortunately, did get battered by Southampton 5-1 in the under-18s PL. And Jack Wilshere will have to pick the guys up. I think it's ever since that Youth Cup final, I know there's a lot of players that played that cup final that would normally be playing for the under-21s. I think that's kind of damaged the momentum somewhat. And when we got absolutely battered by West Ham, it was in the FA Youth Cup final. That's really unfortunately hit things hard there. Jack's done a brilliant job. I mean, getting them all the way to a FA Youth Cup final in his first season, an amazing achievement. But, you know, league-wise, we do need to improve, do need to get better. It's a very difficult job, the under-18s, because you're constantly losing players to the under-21 squad or players going out on loan sometimes. But, yeah, it's a difficult job. But we need to see some improvement. Hopefully that will come next season and hopefully they stay in the division that they're in as well. Now, Mikel Arteta conducted his press conference yesterday. He was talking to the media ahead of the game against Newcastle. He wasn't in his typically happy mood. I don't think I've ever seen Arteta in a really, really happy mood other than after a victory. For a pre-match presser, they do tend to kind of go the same cold ways. There were a few moments where he was smiling and chuckling to a couple of questions, but it weren't great. Let's just say that. It weren't the best press conference to be covering. He was asked about a number of topics. First of all, we need to discuss a really key one, which is the availability of both Saliba and Gabriel. On Gabriel, he said we'll have to see tomorrow, as in today, how he is. But he could not finish the game against Chelsea, so that's obviously a big sign for us, and we'll have to see how he is tomorrow. Now, my understanding is that yesterday was a recovery day. Wednesday was a recovery. Thursday was a recovery day, and Wednesday, I think they just had it kind of off, or it was the other way around. One of the two. Today should be, or rather yesterday. Wow, I'm really messing up my days. We played Tuesday, recovered Wednesday, day off Thursday, back Friday yesterday. There we go. Goodness me. And and so hopefully he is okay to travel to Newcastle, but they've not really had too much time to train or do much because the game was on Tuesday. So they'll have to do a late fitness test on him and see how he is. And now William Saliba, they said, Arteta said there's not a lot of progress. He's feeling better every single day, but he's still not been able to have any activity around the first team. So we don't expect him to be with us. And on whether he was asked about whether or not they can then rule him out for the rest of the season. And we said, we're not there yet today, because we are always hopeful and players are always pushing to play. But if that is the case, then we will announce that. Hopefully that will not be the case. I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to be, unfortunately. I have a sneaky feeling that Saliba may miss the rest of the season, which sucks because obviously he's been such a huge part of the squad this season and what we've achieved. But it is what it is, and Arsenal will have to deal with that. Sticking with Saliba, though, there is some really good positive news, actually. Simon Collins of the Evening Standard asked Arteta about the contract situation. And whilst he said there wasn't an update regarding his contract, he did say we want to keep our best talent, especially players that deserve some recognition. I think he has been incredible since he came back from his loan period, and we want to reward him, that is for sure. We will find the right moment to do that. Obviously, Edu and the board are on top of every negotiation regarding new contracts, and now we are doing everything we possibly can to do that in the right moment and the right time. The communication in the relationship is super. It is about timing, I think. Nothing else. The club seem relatively confident. I think that's the best response we've got from Arteta regarding Saliba's contract in some time. There's been confidence around the club that he would indeed sign a new deal. You may have seen on social media yesterday images surfacing that Saliba's kind of investing in his London house at the moment. I think installing a gym in his London home, which kind of gives you an indication of where he sees his immediate future, which is a positive thing. So yes, hopefully a brand new contract will indeed be secured by William Saliba, and he'll move forwards with Arsenal into the future. So that's a really good sign, I think, regarding the player's contract. Now, our headline story is a transfer-related one, and that Ben Jacobs of CBS Sports yesterday, speaking on both Rice and Caicedo, talked specifically about the idea that Arsenal could, pick up both, and that it's not impossible that both players could end up at Arsenal next season. The reporter said Arsenal could still come back in for Moises Caicedo, even if the priority is Declan Rice, and they could go from Romeo Lavia as well. They won't get all three, but it could indicate that they might be looking for two in the centre of the park when these targets are concrete. They're looking at such a high volume of players because not all these deals are easy, particularly the ones involving Brighton. Roberto De Zerbi will not want a mass exodus, and Brighton will only sell on their terms. If McAllister goes early on, it's not to say that Caicedo won't get sold, but it could become more of a saga. I think that Arsenal will look to plan and do their business early, he told Give Me Sport. So there you go. Some interesting comments from Ben Jacobs, who, of course, you've seen on the channel before, discussing everything to do with Caicedo and Rice. And this is what I would like. I would like Arsenal to invest the majority of their budget for the summer in both of these players. I think it's a significant investment that Arsenal could make. I think in terms of a forward player, we can bring back and reintroduce Fowler and Balogun into the squad, give him opportunities to play. And then in the defensive line, I think there's still scope to invest in the right back area and in the right-sided centre-back area as well. So, yeah, fingers crossed Arsenal can get the deal done. You can get the deal done to get yourself a significant discount off the perfect VPN service to support you in your daily internet needs. The deal is available through www.nordvpn.com/Gooner, which, of course, will help you to keep yourself safe and secure online, whilst also giving yourself the ability, the superpower, if you will, the Saliba defensive might, if you will, to change geolocation as smoothly as a TGT ad transition. Just go to, as I say, to nordvpn.com/Gooner. Gives yourself a significant discount for a 1 or 2 year plan. And change your geolocation. Keep yourself safe and secure. Stop the peeping Todd Bowleys from looking at what you're doing in terms of looking at transfer targets you'd like Arsenal to sign now or in the future. And have a great service to back you up whilst you surf net, of course. Now, Dennis Bergkamp's shirt continues to go on sale for our competition, courtesy of Football Prizes. There are 65 tickets left, 2 days left of this competition as well. Lots of instant win prizes, including another Dennis Bergkamp signed Arsenal shirt with lots of retro Arsenal merchandise to potentially win too. Do not hesitate to get yourself a ticket. If you don't buy one, you can't win the raffle. You know how the phrasing goes. Please do go to the links in the description to check out any of our TGT offerings for today. Okay, let's go to part 2 and your questions right after this. You can also pick up some of our TGT merchandise as well by going to any of the shop pages on the YouTube channel, the website, links in the description. Get yourself some TGT headwear, help some amazing causes. All of it is non-profit. Arsenal Foundation, Cancer Macmillan Support, our local embroidery company that we are supporting as well, in collaboration with in making these hats. So get involved and get yourself some fantastic sporting headwear that matches, of course, the kits. I'm going to be looking forward to doing, I suppose we're going to have to put a green one together for the kit for next season. I'm looking forward to that. I want to kind of maybe look into doing some lightning bolt stuff. I think that might be quite cool. If you've got any ideas that you think we should go for, let us know. I'm just going to close this blind because I feel like the light is not the best in here. There we go. Much better. You can see my ugly mug. Far easier now. Right, let's jump into the chat and see what you guys are saying question-wise. Lynn says, Saliba has also been spoken about how much he has been missed by the media and fans, etc. And that may be having an important nudge towards Saliba staying at Arsenal because he is not just a player for something. Or maybe Lynn run out of characters. But I think, we've been missing him significantly, Lynn. We all know that. The amount of games that I know that we would have benefited, Anfield, Man City, the Newcastle on Sunday, we would have really benefited from having Saliba in the group. And it's not necessarily as much of a slight on the players that have come in. He is just that good. And even if we invest 30 to 40 million pounds in a centre-back in the summer to come in and provide competition, it's going to be difficult to find somebody that can be as good as Saliba has been for us. But it is a target and a challenge that we need to try and achieve between now and the end of the summer transfer window. Yomi says, would you take Big Sam at Arsenal? He's just as good as Pep and Klopp and Arteta with bags of experience. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't take Big Sam? I mean, he talks the talk. Surely he can walk the walk as well. At least we're going to see if he can a little bit later on this afternoon. Odin's Raven says, hey, Tom, where's Tomiyasu? I thought that we have White in the middle, Tommy on the right, and Kivior on the right as well. Tommy's well injured, mate. He's out for the season, I'm afraid. You're not going to see Tomiyasu back until the start of next season, maybe even after the start of next season. Arteta kind of hinted the other day that he might be out for as much as 6 months from the point of that injury, which could cost him the start of the season as well. Let's go to Balaji. Says Barcelona will try to sell Frank Kessié, Eric Garcia, Ferran Torres, Marcos Alonso and Rafinha to fund a deal for Messi. Apparently, according to Mundo Deportivo. Who would you take among the above for Arsenal? I would take Rafinha, depending on the price tag. I think a great competition for Saka. I think that Ferran Torres is also a good player that I like and think would support our forward line. But I think there are better options for us out there to go and get. Franck Kessié, really good midfielder, showed that AC Milan and Atalanta previously before that as well. But Barcelona has not gone as well, but maybe he could rekindle some of that amazing form we saw in Serie A at Arsenal. So certainly an interesting player to consider going in for. Let's go to Ollie says, morning, Tom. Could you ask Arteta if he does a number 2 at halftime? I think it's affecting the tilt of the pitch in the second half. Ollie, of all the questions we've been asked, I never thought I'd be asked about Arteta's toilet routine, but we've reached new heights this morning, And or new lows, probably. New lows, I think, is the way forwards with that question. Ollie says, hey, Tom, if you had a choice between Gahey and Webster, who would you prefer? Gahey, of course. Marcus says, can you put into comparison the women's achievement with so many ACLs to players of top four, kind of top starters being out for Arsenal? Yeah, of course. You know, losing it. What is so frustrating on the women's side of things is when we've lost the four key players that we have, and like it's every time I talk about this and I end up speaking about this, I end up pausing and just getting irritated and frustrated at the misfortune that both the men's and the women's teams have both suffered with injuries. Like it's like Arsenal losing Saka, Jesus, Saliba, and Partey, like all at once. Like as soon as Leah Williamson went down, unfortunately, even though the girls put up an amazing battle against Wolfsburg, I felt like that moment was the key one, and I felt like we could have defended far better with Leah in the team. But yeah, it's like losing four of our best players. That's what Jonas Eidevall is having to deal with, you know, at the moment. Let's go to Matt G says Liverpool are reportedly close to signing Magalhaes. Do you think Brighton will let both him and Caicedo leave in the summer? Potentially, if they get the money. If they get the money they want, I think they will. I think they'd be confident that they can replace them because they've shown the ability to find good talent as well at the same time. So yeah, it gets to a stage where you can't say no to certain figures, I think, and it'd be interesting to see if both of those players end up moving on in the summer. Let's go to Thabang, says, guys, let's go for Upamecano at Bayern or Laporte from City. Vlahovic, Lautaro Martinez, Declan Rice and Caicedo. I mean, Upamecano is not really covered himself in glory that much recently at Bayern Munich. He struggled a lot against Man City. I'm not sure he's the right player to go for. Would be very expensive as well. The others, though, you know, forwards-wise, Vlahovic, not as keen on as much. And I like Lautaro Martinez. I think he does suit the style of Arsenal. But again, finishing, he's not as clinical as I'd want our striker to be. So I think there are better options out there that Arsenal maybe could go for. Lynn says, is there any slight chance, Tom, when Caicedo couldn't get a move in January, do you think that behind the scenes, Caicedo was given reassurances that by Brighton that they would release him in the summer to Arsenal? Potentially. I don't know that for sure, Lynn, but there's certainly potential for that to have happened. He signed a brand new contract, didn't he? And of course, they raised his wage. And you'd hope that he would have wanted to get assurances, similar to when Luis Suarez signed that deal at Liverpool after Arsenal were interested, that he got assurances that if Barcelona would come in for him, they would sell him for the certain price tag that was agreed. So maybe it's not beyond the realms of possibility that would have happened. Rancy says, at which point are Tomiyasu's injury problems unbearable? I love him, but we need players who we can rely on. Yeah, look, I think the knee injury that he suffered here is really unfortunate. Like, it's not a thing that he's had before. It's not a reoccurrence of a muscular problem. It's a really unfortunate issue that befell Arsenal at the worst time. He slipped and it happened. And it's just not something I can really link into his other muscular injury issues, because it's a ACL potentially problem, maybe even a really bad MCL issue, I think more so. But you can't put that down to like a history of injuries, because when your knee ligaments go, as speaking of someone who's had it themselves, it's nothing to do with what's previously happened. It's a movement. It's an unfortunate position your knee's gone into, and it's just snapped or torn the ligament, which is a really bad situation. So I don't think it's this which says to us, oh, we have to make a decision. And by the way, he will be here next season because that injury will cover across the summer transfer window for as far as I'm aware. So no one's going to be looking to buy him, and Arsenal certainly won't be able to sell him whilst he's continuing to recover from that serious injury. So yeah, it's a tricky one at the moment. Reece says, Tom, if we can get Fresneda, does that mean that White can become a centre-back again? Look, the thing about White is that he's got the ability to play both positions. White will still, I think, be our first choice right back next season, and Fresneda coming in will offer competition and variation in options for us for next season, if indeed Arsenal do or are successful in signing him. So I think White can obviously then come in for Saliba if you want to rotate. I think White will be used in both positions next season if Arsenal go and get the right back that we know that they need to be able to go and get. Lynn says, have you seen the link between Neymar and Newcastle? I have. I think it's hilarious. I think it would be the most kind of nation-backed kind of move you've ever seen. But yeah, let's wait and see on that one. But it's one of those that you could see happening, isn't it? Emmanuel says, do you think Arteta is taking Smith Rowe's integration into the team like he did Martinelli after his long-term injury? Potentially. We always are very quick as Arsenal fans to jump on things and go, oh, well, his future's kind of done. Look at what's going on. But you're right, Emmanuel, to bring up the Martinelli situation. Martinelli, there was a time at Arsenal where Martinelli was thought as a player that could move on because he wasn't getting given chances by Arteta. I remember doing shows with Potsy talking about it, and I remember Potsy getting very frustrated with Arteta for not playing Martinelli. So, yeah, there's all the potential in the world that we might see that happen. Slightly shorter show this morning. Sorry to wrap up earlier, but I've got some stuff going on. And Penny Wayne, thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to read it out, but I'm going to throw it up on screen for you. But yeah, appreciate that. And do drop a like on the like button. Press of your button, please. That's what I mean. Press the button. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you want to know, like Ben says there, if I would start Tierney, go and watch our preview show that we did yesterday. Much appreciate everybody that's tuned in, as always. As I say, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and as always, up the Arsenal.